Things aren't looking great for Donald Trump right now, and honestly, I can't help but smile when I say that because it's just true. It's not just Trump who realizes this. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene could see it coming. We're seeing some Republicans hint at resigning. And perhaps the worst news for Trump is that his ally, Mike Johnson, seems to be tuning into the reality of the situation too. Johnson just turned his back on Trump, which feels like quite a betrayal. And now it's all starting to play out in public, fueling what some are calling a civil war among the MAGA base.
And now, with Donald Trump being judged a failure in every poll of his presidential job performance, the Trump retreat is underway. And the Department of Government Efficiency, we discovered this morning, no longer exists. That doesn't exist, Office of Personnel Management Director Scott Cooper told Reuters when asked about the Department of Government Efficiency status. Reuters reported that today at 8:37 a.m. And so Elon Musk's indefensible plaything, which produced no government efficiency but did deliver the worst cruelty the United States has ever visited upon people outside of war, is no more.
Before we dive deeper into how Mike Johnson, of all people, is choosing to distance himself from Trump, let's take a step back and look at the surrounding chaos, as explained by Lawrence O'Donnell. It really shows how backed into a corner Trump is these days, especially with his approval ratings at an all-time low. Honestly, I think Trump thought he could snag a little PR boost from this, maybe feel important again, but it really looks like he was just charmed by Manchin. It's almost tragic.
From those reporters about what he was doing to the 400,000 children who were dying because of his playing with government, because of what he did to the United States Agency for International Development. Not one question from the White House press corps to Elon Musk about that. There is no more vivid image of the decline and fall of Donald Trump, as no one before him has ever taken over that room with Donald Trump in it. Donald Trump went from calling the man a communist lunatic to glad-handing him publicly like one of Donald Trump's beloved dictators.
The man who once strutted around like a strong man is now just hoping for some scraps of strength from someone who actually stands firm in his beliefs. When he's up against someone like Manchin, Trump crumbles. These days, he doesn't have much power left, and it seems like all he can do is throw stuff against the wall to see what sticks. He's been talking a lot about this new healthcare plan. Rarely does he miss a chance to hype that up, even though it's just smoke and mirrors. If you listen carefully, you might understand why he feels betrayed by the likes of Mike Johnson when it comes to healthcare negotiations ahead of next month's vote. But honestly, it seems like he thinks he can pull a little trick.
Healthcare ahead of a vote next month.
We're negotiating with lawmakers, and I've had personal talks with some Democrats. I can't tell you who they are. I just don't want to do that. It's not fair to them. About paying large amounts of dollars back to the people. You know, this was my idea. It came up during that, oftentimes under times of stress, like the shutdown, you come up with great ideas.
Just mention a healthcare plan that's supposedly only 2 weeks away. That's his classic move, promising something short-term to boost his approval ratings. He talks about giving money for healthcare that will still end up costing people more, which is kind of comical when you think about it. There's no real substance to his plan. It's just a bunch of buzzwords thrown together, and it would be hilarious if it weren't so predictable. It's honestly hard to believe how much the political landscape is shifting these days. We're at a point where House Speaker Mike Johnson is really stepping out and warning Donald Trump about sticking with the Affordable Care Act subsidies. This comes just as Congress is gearing up to dodge a potential healthcare crisis that could hit tens of millions of Americans. Johnson made it clear that a lot of House Republicans aren't thrilled about extending those subsidies, and the Wall Street Journal picked up on this interesting tidbit. According to insiders, Johnson's advice suggests it'll be no walk in the park politically to prevent healthcare costs from skyrocketing next year for many folks.
Clearly seeming to have no idea that Bolsonaro has been arrested overnight. He says, yeah, I spoke to him last night, and we're going to be meeting, I believe, in the very near future. Were you planning on going to Brazil, Mr. President? Because this dude's on house arrest with an ankle monitor. He can't leave home. How are you going to be meeting with him in the very near future? I mean, Bolsonaro, they arrested him like 6 a.m. Saturday morning. He was rearrested for the most far-fetched thing in the world, right?
After that recent government shutdown, which happened because Republicans refused to fund an extension for ACA subsidies that are supposed to run out at the end of this year, Johnson's warning couldn't come at a more critical time. If these subsidies expire, we're looking at around 4 million people losing their health coverage and premiums skyrocketing for about 22 million others. So here's Johnson cautioning the White House against extending those subsidies while Democrats in the Senate recently caved on a few key issues to end the shutdown. It's a tricky situation. Johnson is caught in the crossfire trying to keep Republicans in competitive districts happy while dealing with those who strongly oppose the subsidies. He seems to be turning his back not only on Trump's health care proposal, which honestly is something I've never seen presented in such ridiculous quotes, but also on a chance to improve his own approval ratings by keeping those ACA subsidies in play. Now, Trump is left with two choices. He can either stick to his proposed health care plan or navigate this increasingly complicated political scene with Johnson in the mix.
But now here's the president of the United States on Saturday confirming that actually on Friday night, Bolsonaro might have been tripping, but he was talking to President Trump at the time, and they were making plans to be together, in Trump's words, in the very near future. He was under house arrest and about to start a 27-year prison sentence. How are you going to be together in the very near future? I mean, when Trump said that, he must have meant that Bolsonaro was coming to America, right? He definitely could not have done that without breaking off his ankle monitor and fleeing the country and going on the lam. And apparently the president of the United States was like, in on the plan?
It's interesting to see how things are unfolding with Mike Johnson and his role as Speaker of the House. He's really in a tight spot because his majority is getting smaller, and now there are Republicans threatening to resign left and right. Some of them are talking about making the majority completely disappear. If that happens, Hakeem Jeffries could end up taking over. And just imagine, the Democrats not only would hold the majority, but also would have control over all their committees. This could lead to more investigations into Donald Trump and the administration's attempts to cover up details regarding the Epstein files. Now, Donald Trump is sitting there weighing his options. He can stir things up even more within the House, or on the flip side, let those healthcare subsidies expire. If he goes down that route, 4 million people could lose their healthcare and 22 million might see their premiums skyrocket. That would push Trump's approval ratings even lower, and it might just force more Republicans to jump ship. Mike Johnson's certainly not feeling comfortable. He's practically pleading with Trump to back off because he doesn't want to take on this chaotic situation anymore. What's become clear is that Mike Johnson isn't really calling the shots. Instead, he's kind of a puppet for Trump, relying on him for power. His main concern is simply staying in the position he holds. He wants to maintain control of the House, and the threat of resignations seems to be coming from those who want to avoid voting on a new health care plan, truly showing how ruthless some of these individuals can be when it comes to people's health. Mike Johnson's been pretty vocal about wanting to distance himself from any messy business, saying, "No, number, I'm fine. Just let's not do this." It's created a sort of lame duck situation all around. Trump is a lame duck president, and Johnson feels paralyzed, worried that any action he takes could completely fracture his caucus. And honestly, it's hard not to smile at the sight of the MAGA movement crumbling. Watching the disarray of Trump's term is in a way fascinating. So while everything else is going down, Donald Trump seems totally preoccupied with more corruption. It's hard to shake the feeling that this cycle of corruption and chaos might never truly end. Sadly, that's the reality we're faced with. But one thing's for sure, I'm going to keep shining a light on it here on the show. If you appreciate that effort and want to back us up, just hit that subscribe button and drop a like on this video. And if you're still here with me at the end, go ahead and share a blue heart in the comments. Keep the fight alive, everyone, and don't let them silence us. Until next time, I'll catch you.